We must protect free speech. And free speech only matters, it's only relevant when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like, because obviously speech that you like is, that's easy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to give my reaction to the recent interview between Bill Maher and Elon Musk. In case you guys missed it, Elon was on Bill Maher's real-time show and discussing some important aspects of life, right? They talked about wokeism. Well, it's not even a word, but I guess it's a word nowadays. It's relative. Wokeism. They talked about freedom of speech. They talked about the importance of caring about America and how America breeds or is trying to breed self-hatred, right? And it's teaching our youth in schools, colleges around this country to hate America, right? To resent the country that they're from. And, obviously this is detrimental to the future of this nation, because you need your boys and girls to grow up loving and respecting your country so that they can fight for it, they can work hard for it, so they can help build it and push it forward, right? So let's see what Elon has to say.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic, and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke-mind bias that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So, another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously people have tried to cancel you many times.
You and I are both like in that little group of people, maybe it's a bigger group now, who are called conservative, who haven't really changed. I don't think of you as a conservative.
I'm definitely, like I at least think of myself as a moderate, so, I mean.
So yeah, I'm just gonna pause it right there and just to touch on what he's saying about freedom of speech, the importance, and that is the issue that we're dealing with right now, right? Is that a suppression of thought, and instead people want you to regurgitate other people's thoughts and other people's beliefs, but you hold back your nation when you don't allow new ideas to come about, right, and to be discussed. Evolution only happens and progression only happens when you hear different points of view and new point of views. No one has to be always right, and someone always has to be wrong. Sometimes two things can be true. You could be right, you could be wrong, you could be wrong, you could be right, right? The point is, if we lose our ability, I should say, to speak, what progression will this country have, right? If you want to look at it from a civil rights perspective, would the civil rights movement have had any success if freedom of speech was suppressed? Obviously, people are going to say there were some levels of suppression, but there was enough freedom for the civil rights leaders to be heard, right? Same thing for women's rights. Same thing for, just all of our rights, right? Someone advocated and was given a forum and enough respect to be heard, and enough room to formulate ideas and thoughts and think about, well, maybe people will need this someday, right? So we should look into that. And I think that's what gets missed in today's society, is too much speech and thought suppression, and it's the major and contributing factor to cancel culture, to anger, to resentment, and it's breeding just a negativity about America and in America.
The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. And I sort of came to realize this somewhat late. The experience that we had in high school and college is not the experience that kids today are having, and hasn't been for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 20 years. So I suppose in some cases that parents, but I think like the parents are just generally not aware of what their kids are being taught. Or what they're not being taught. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to college go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them like, well, so who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
And this is what I was saying, right? It's what's being taught to our kids, right? And I mean, how do they not know the history of their own country? As a black man, I understand how devastating and horrible slavery was. But I also have to understand that civilization wasn't civilized, right? Slavery is a practice that happened all around the world. It's horrific, but it was the reality of the time. It can't be undone, and you can't live your life based on what has already happened. You can take what has happened to learn from those mistakes and to better prepare yourself for the future. But if all you're teaching children are the worst aspects of this country, well, what hope will they have for the future of this country? They're going to grow up hopeless, thinking it doesn't matter what I do. This will always be a bad nation. This will always be a bad country. And it's scary to think what's going to happen when the older generation is no longer here. Because these young teenagers, kids will be taking care of us someday. And do we know if they're going to be willing to? Will they resent us? Will they look at us as part of that era of negativity and hatred? This is what we're breeding. This is why we have to be open about the past of this country, but teach it along with the positives so that these kids have hope and know that you can start off one way and end up another way, right? You can start off bad and end up good. But you have to have perspective to know what's good and what's bad. And if only thing is taught to you is bad, how would you ever know what's good? How would you ever understand what improvement is and progression and evolving is, right? So that's kind of where I wanted to end the video, guys, because I really wanted to hear Elon's perspective on freedom of speech. It was a big topic, right? There were the Twitter files where he released the government's and big business involvement in Twitter and the suppression of free speech and free thought. And that's what I want people to understand, that that's what Elon's truly a crusader of, is revealing, hey, there's a lot of people out here trying to stop you from expressing yourself, and no matter which political side you sit on, your speech your voice deserves to be heard. And it's unfortunate that in today's society, more people don't think that way. Or at least the controlling powers don't think that way. And I'm happy to see someone as successful, powerful as Elon Musk is trying to do something about it. So, I want to hear from you guys. Do you agree with Elon? I hope you guys do. Or maybe you don't. Maybe, you're part of the woke culture, and maybe you have a different perspective, and I want to hear from you guys too. I want to hear from both sides, right? Because that's what we need. So leave your comments below. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to hear more, subscribe today. And as always, take care of your mind, take care of your body, take care of each other. That's what we got. Peace.